What is up, everybody? Welcome to another week of the Wedding Film School live film reviews, live film critiques. Excited to be here with all of you. I see we've already got a handful of people in chat. Say what's up in chat. We'd love to see all your beautiful, well, not faces, I guess little icons and names, but we always love knowing who's here. And real quick, hit the like button. That would help us out, get more people in here. We've got a fun show for you today. And I think, as always, we just want to go over a little bit of kind of what this looks like, what this entails. We're going to be hanging out with you guys for the next hour or two. We got Jay here as well.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
And yeah, so we're going to review some films. We've got 3 films picked out. We might have room for a 4th. We'll see what happens. But we're going to go ahead. I'm going to post the link to submit for future and possibly later today, but also just in general for future. So that you have that to submit your films going forward. We do this every single week. And, Jay, we had kind of an interesting discussion about, who, as we critique these films, what's the goal here? Yeah, we were talking about this before. Why don't you dive into that? I feel like that was an important discussion.
It's one of those things where obviously we want to be entertaining, but we also really want to be constructive. And so, we're always talking about what can we do and how do we make it, and like what's the perspective we're coming from in terms of how we're communicating about these films. And I think the thing to keep in mind when we're doing a film critique is, we're critiquing as filmmakers. and kind of our own perspective, what we would do, right? And our own sensibilities. And so there's a little bit of objective, but also a lot of subjectiveness to the whole thing. But also, we're critiquing it in our mind the way a potential client may critique it. And I think that's the thing to keep in mind is we're not critiquing this film the way the client who you delivered it to. And so in some ways, we're kind of almost like reviewing it as if how good of a piece of marketing is it for your business, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a big thing. Like, I think we understand. I think like there's always this overarching umbrella over all of our critique, which is, we say this a lot in other stuff, which is that like, look, we're not your client and we're not the ones paying you. So if you delivered a film that your client loves and they paid you and left you a great review and referred you to their friends, I mean, that's all that matters. So
matters a lot more than what we think.
Yeah. But with that said, we've got some great films to review today. And we always love also seeing you guys in chat helping us review too. We're not, this is our stream, but we're not the authority. Like we've got some great filmmakers in the chat as well. So we'd love to see you guys help out and share your thoughts and opinions, either on the films themselves or, on things that we say, if you agree, disagree, stuff like that. So
ultimately, in a lot of ways, we're just here to have some fun. So definitely let us know if you are having fun. And also, if you're enjoying it, it means a lot to us. Go ahead, please, like Bobby has mentioned, hit that like button. But what really helps us? Go share it on Facebook. Go ahead and tag the Wedding Film School Show on Instagram. Let people know that what we're doing here helps, because we really, that's our goal. We want to help as many filmmakers as possible make a living, make better wedding films, all of that stuff.
Run a better business, as much as we can do.
Become millionaires.
That's the goal.
That's the actual goal. It's like, I wonder if there are any like millionaire wedding filmmakers besides like people who run like maybe like mega studios who are doing like 2,000 films a year. Maybe those.
I think there are, but you're probably, as with anything, you're probably not only making your money off of just your straight main income.
I wonder.
You probably have some side hustles. You probably did well investing your money.
I've been thinking a lot about we were talking about the recession last week. We're uploading that episode to YouTube today on our sister channel, Wedding Film School Show. But how has been inquiries for you in the last like 30 days? Have you experienced kind of the same kind of dip maybe as some of the other people have?
That's a good question. I wish I was like, had numbers in front of me at all times, which I really don't and probably should. But,
I wish you were organized too, Bobby.
Yeah, I know. I don't think that they've dipped that much. Like, I haven't, well, actually that's not true. I just booked 1 or 2 weddings actually for next year, but I did feel like maybe 2 months ago, I had kind of not really a lull in inquiries, but maybe a lull in like solid inquiries that are like responding. I'm setting up a phone call with them. Like I didn't have any like, initial meetings for a little while.
Yeah.
Just a lot of getting ghosted or whatever. So I feel like for me, it's actually picked up a little bit in the last month. But nothing crazy or anything like that. So
it's been really at least in the Northeast, if you're sitting in the Northeast and we will get to film critiques, by the way, guys. So but if you're in the Northeast, I feel like I've heard from a lot of people that July has just been a wacky month in terms of inquiries. Just way less inquiries than normal. We're probably, I always tell people we do pretty decent with inquiries. And we were talking like, something like 60, 70 inquiries last month. And we've been, although I've had like, I think 7 in the last couple days. So maybe that jumped it up, but we've been down at one point in the month. We were down like 50%, Bobby.
Dang. You know what I have had? I've had a lot of commercial inquiries.
Well, that's good.
Like corporate. Yeah. Which is great.
Yeah.
But also like seems kind of random.
Either way, yeah, we're still down. We have like 14 vendor referrals, 9 other 20.
What about everybody in chat? We'd love to know what you guys are at. Like, are you, you don't have to share exact numbers if you don't want to, but hey, are you up? Are you down? either on the year for bookings or inquiries, or have you noticed kind of a slump in the last month? As you know, some recession talk is floating around and stuff like that.
It's definitely affecting people. I know. I feel that confidently that it's affecting people. I think July is also kind of a weird month, so we'll see over the next 3 months.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this: if you're watching this, we're keeping an eye on this for you guys. If you're interested in a subject like how will recession or kind of a financial downturn that has kind of nothing to do with your business, how will that affect your business and what can you do to be prepared? Check out the other channels getting released later today, or you can just go listen to the podcast episode. It's live now. The other thing that we're offering, Bobby, is these the consultations, and they're really designed at evaluating how susceptible you are to rainy days financially, and are you like a stable place? Are you going to be okay? How will this affect you
for your business? For
your business. Yeah. But enough about business, Bobby.
Yeah.
Let's do some wedding filmmaking. Who's our first filmmaker today?
As I pull it up, I just want to mention, so Kilroy Films mentioned in the comments, if he hasn't gotten contacted, does he need to submit again?
It's our bad. I usually send an email out, Kilroy, and I just forgot today, but we're actually reviewing your film.
Yeah. So no, you specifically don't need to. Okay. So up first we have Chad Bowditch from Miston Moss. And let me see here. Just scroll over. Filmed on XT4.
Fellow Fuji shooter.
Yeah, you're in not good company with me, but good company with Jay and Jared. Filmed at XT4 at the couple's home. Had a great story about sending a letter to the seller when they were trying to buy the house. So I used the idea of home and built the story for the film around that. They purchased full day coverage and a 5 to 7 minute film, and he gave them a complimentary engagement session. And that's a great lead into a reminder that the way we structure this is we will watch through the entire film. You might hear some commentary over the top while we're watching from myself or Jay. And then we're going to review it afterwards. We're only going to watch about 5 minutes of the film. So you are welcome to submit films that are longer to us. But we feel like we can probably be at a pretty good place as far as, having some things to give you some praise on and some things to work on from watching 5 minutes. So we will cut it around there.
This is also why, by the way, guys, including some information about the film helps, because then we know what to focus on and what to not skip.
Yeah. And then, we might skip around. That's also an option, but we don't do that too much. And then, afterwards, we're going to take turns and we're going to say, we're going to each say a few things that we like about the film, a few things that we think you did really well, that kind of thing. And then we're also going to go on the flip side and say, hey, here's some things I think you could work on. And, I think, Jay, our focus there is, we understand that we get people of all skill levels and stages in their career. So what we're trying to probably tell you there is we're probably focusing on like the one or two of the biggest things that we say, hey, for your next wedding, this is what you should focus on, because this is going to have the biggest impact on your work moving forward.
What is something practical that you can take right away after watching this critique and apply that, again, that we feel, maybe you disagree. And this is a big thing for me, Bobby, with critique. Do what you feel is right.
Yep.
Like, so that's just a big thing, is like,
there's a lot of opinion.
It's great to ask for feedback. It shows humility and it gives you the opportunity to learn. And anyone who's unwilling to listen to feedback, you're just dumb. That being said, you shouldn't be, I'm not going to pay the price if I'm wrong. So I can just say whatever. It costs me nothing. So it's like 100% do what you feel is right. But that being said, we're going to do our best. So Bobby, tell us, do we to go through the gear? We do Fuji. Is that everything?
Just XT4 is what we've got. And yeah.
Awesome. You ready to do this then?
Let's do it.
What do you think? Should I go full screen, guys, with the film? I'm going to go full screen with the film today. How's that sound?
Let's do it. Jay, please send it my way on Zoom.
When most of us think of a couple's first home, we think of the color of the kitchen walls, finding couches for the living room, realizing a landlord isn't coming to fix the broken dryer. We think of the material, we think of the trivial. But for those of us who have lived in a house long enough, we know that those are not the things that make your first house your first home. A home is who you decide to celebrate your victories with. A home is who stands by you when life gets hard. A home is who makes you brave enough to take risks, knowing there's always someone to come back to. While Mackenzie and Tyler have only lived in this beautiful house for a few years, they've been at home since they've met each other.
Love that sequence.
Yeah.
So good.
Mackenzie and Tyler constantly demonstrate one of my all-time favorite characteristics, grit. I've seen them exude this quality by their strength and passion for their long-term goals. They really never quit. They have faced so many challenges, but they remain committed to one another, and they have built such a strong home, like Sam mentioned, metaphorically in each other, and then also physically. I mean, look at this place. It's incredible.
Build a world that you can call home. Use your hands and make it beautiful.
If you strip it down to the bones, this old house is built on love and a combination of Brody slobber, a lot of Ned and Jessica's hard work, and furniture that Mackenzie picked up off the side of the road.
Mackenzie and Tyler, from this moment forward, you will never be alone. You will carry with you the love of another person, giving you a completeness and a forever home. May your life together be immersed in love and excitement, and may you strive to enrich each other in every possible way.
Feels like the morning sun after spring has sprung. It's the day begun. It's like wedding bells.
Oh, that's cool with the roads.
I wish he was straight.
Having pledged to love, honor, and cherish one another in the presence of this personal gathering, it is my honor to now pronounce you husband and wife. Tyler, you may kiss your bride.
The house is just a house until you fill it up. The life's just passing time until you fall in love. There's a king for every castle, a queen for every throne. So baby, take my hand, let's make this house our home, yeah.
I've been lucky to know Tyler and Mackenzie for a very long time. They enjoy the small moments, the parts of life that if you don't slow down enough, you're gonna miss and regret you missed. They don't need much, and like Kenny Loggins once said, even though we ain't got money, I'm so in love with you, honey.
You're the end of a long road, start of something worth holding. Pot of gold
We're going over a little here, but I think we should get through this film. So we're gonna keep going, folks.
Executive decision.
Did he get a license for this?
Kill it, kill it. But like, actually, I don't know.
I mean, I
Too late
personally,
now.
that's transformative art. Okay. So the way we're going to do this, folks, is we're going to do stuff we love about the film and do a round of that feedback. And then we're going to talk about some things that we think could be, maybe would improve the film or improve the filmmaker. So, Bobby, why don't you get started?
So, I really loved, along with Jay, that running sequence. I think,
Here, this thing is just so good.
That just like the way it was shot, that just like it like takes me out of even like a wedding film. Like that looks like
A movie.
Yeah, it looks like a movie. And more than looked like, it was good. It was good shooting, but like felt like a movie.
It felt
So
like
I
a
really
story.
Yeah, I really love how that was incorporated.
I agree.
And the use of that, super well done. I like the use of all the engagement stuff. We've been seeing that more, Jay, in some films. I think Max Smith does it.
I wish I could get my couples to do it.
Yeah,
more, but they won't even
that's
do
what
it.
That's what I'm
So,
saying.
give us your tips, people. How do you get people to actually agree to that?
Yeah, I really like that. I like some of the light here.
Oh, yeah.
In the prep, just really nice. And then I also just like the I think the biggest thing is you seem to like take some risks with concepts, right? Like the running thing, and the home theme, the overarching home theme, and the use of the typewriter. But I think he really leaned into that, and I think it really paid off. Like, I think it comes across. I think it is very, I mean, obviously it's unique to this couple, but it also seems to be very them. Like, I don't think this is some thread that you found in a couple speeches that were given at their wedding. This was something that you did the research, and you got to know them early on, and then you found those threads recurring throughout the day, and you weave them together really well. So I think that was good, and everything else was like pretty solid. I think, you know what I mean?
There's nothing. Well,
there are some things, but there's nothing. Like, I have things that I'll go over too when we get to that, but like I just think in a general sense, like, this is a very solid, complete film to me.
yeah. So a good storyteller is a good listener. It doesn't mean that they don't talk or that they're quiet, but that they know how to observe and make notes, and I feel like Chad is a good storyteller, and knowing some of his work and being somewhat familiar with what he does. This is a good storyteller. There's also like a chicken and egg thing, Bobby, you've seen with weddings, where it's like, is this couple likable because the wedding filmmaker made them more likable, or is this couple,
they're just an awesome couple?
Is this couple, or is this film good because the couple's so likable?
Yeah.
This couple is so freaking likable.
Yeah.
And so what I will give Chad all the credit for is realizing what makes them likable, pulling those traits out. Because usually what other people like about you is what you like about yourself and like about each other. And so it's not just selfish. There's, of course, promotion. And, like, you're making a good film, and that's good for your business. But it's good for this couple. They're going to love it. And that's a skill. I feel like you drew that out. I also feel like this is the first part of this is a compliment. The second part, when we talk about negative feedback, will be a negative. The audio throughout the film, the actual sound bites and the inclusion and the way he story told with audio was excellent. Really, really good. Like the actual words that were spoken, how it was edited together, and what order they were communicated. I just felt like overall, I loved the couple. You mentioned a lot of the shooting. The portrait work is excellent. Some of the coverage is, especially if you want that raw handheld vibe, is also very excellent. So yeah, that's kind of, I mean, I could say more positive, but great, really good.
But let's maybe flip to the other side, and I'm going to let you go first just because you're kind of coming right off of a double-sided
I'm coming in hot
compliment.
So I feel like there's like a, artistically speaking, people who are driven by inspiration oftentimes are not that attracted to details. And I feel like this film lacks a little attention to detail. There's a little sloppiness in particular the audio. Like the audio is literally all over the place. Stuff that with weird echoes, poorly recorded things, audio's going in and out. Like it sounds so like just even the way I think some of the ambient audio used is kind of jarring. It just like comes in like
so like tightening that up a little bit.
Yes,
would be a good like it. We totally agree with the sentiment of what to use and when to use it. It's just the execution could be a little bit better.
I just think how it's captured is not consistent. So it's like it's being captured from like all these different methodologies.
Yeah,
and it really sticks.
And we don't know the wedding day, right?
No, don't know the wedding day. Don't know. And I don't know if you got totally screwed by someone. So whatever. Yeah, like that happens. But I will say like one way to improve a film is to have a consistent approach to your audio and have high quality audio throughout the film. And I felt like some of the audio being so good at the story and was so essential too with the style of filmmaking he made that when it wasn't great, it really stuck out to me.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So, I mean, there's some stuff to say about some of the, I'm not crazy about the constant recomposing in the handheld. Like it's not like the handheld shooting is cool, but it's like when you're trying to center them and you just keep recomposing a little, like it was throughout the ceremony. And there's a lot of like, I just think like upping the intentionality throughout the filmmaking would make this film like way better. This is like, if it didn't have any of these little glaring issues, I also have a minor thing, which is I'm not really crazy about like super desaturated color.
So I wasn't going to comment on color because I get it through Zoom, guys, is how I'm watching. And it's always like, it's just tough for me to know how accurate it is. But yeah, I kind of agree. There was like I wish there was a little more I wish the color was a little more dynamic or a little more interesting to me.
Yeah, it's not that flat. I would say like there's a lot of it looks like there's some drone work that was literally just log. Maybe
I am gonna comment on that.
But anyway, but in general, like I think the color was inconsistent, but also it's just not my personal favorite. But I do understand a lot of people really like a desaturated look. So anyway.
So yeah, I think my biggest things we mentioned. So I'm gonna. Jay kind of said the reframing. One of the things I picked up on kind of the shooting side was there's a lot of like, I know you're handheld and I actually like that look. I think you executed it.
Yeah, he's good at it.
But with that said, there's a lot of this like horizon drift that you keep doing where you keep kind of leaning off to one side. It was in the portraits a little bit. It was in a bunch of the photo booth shots. So yeah, I don't know, where it's like either straighten it in post or cut that shot short or, I don't know. I saw a lot of that. I really did not like if there's one shot where I'm like, man, take this out. It was that drone time lapse or whatever that you did. It was super dark. I don't think it really showed anything. That took me out of the film a little bit. And then I think, I say this a lot, but I think you would definitely benefit from bringing a light to the reception. Like I think that dancing footage, even when it was still somewhat light out, would have definitely been impacted by having a light. Now I know this was an outdoor wedding, like a tent wedding, and they had some string lights and stuff, but I think you could have added kind of a more dynamic look with a light, and I think that would be a big step up moving forward.
Really good film. And like we kind of ripped it apart because honestly, these are easy films to critique because when someone's like, they're a good shooter and they're a really good storyteller and clearly they can pull the best out of their couples. And I think that is the most important things. All the crap we're talking about is not as important. But when we're thinking like, how can I give this person a step to like more even better films? They're just technical. And so they're much easier to pull out than when you're like, this person clearly doesn't know what they're doing.
It's easy to put words to something like, hey, your color's desaturated, or hey, your horizon keeps drifting, or something like that. And so, it's a lot harder to put words to like, hey, you don't understand the concept of a wedding film, which you clearly do. So,
wow, that was a really unique wedding film.
yeah, I don't know.
Really good job, Chad.
Yeah.
All right, let's get the next film up.
Let's do it. While you do that, I will intro it. And while I intro it, I would love to have you guys hit the like button down below for us. We appreciate that. It helps the stream, helps the channel. A few other things. Obviously, if you aren't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. If you want to get your films reviewed, I have pasted the link and pinned it at the top in chat. It's weddingfilm.school/live review. So go ahead, click on that, submit your films. And, also, if you want more of a chance of getting your film reviewed, you can consider becoming a member. Membership is $5 a month on the base level, and it gives you a kind of a priority pass to getting your films reviewed. You're not locked in for any certain amount of time, but we love having our members in the chat, and we appreciate our members that help keep this channel going and giving you guys free content like this and many other things. And finally, if you are interested in diving deeper into your wedding filmmaking career, your business, your skill set, we have lots of tutorials. We have this here, right? Our live reviews, and these are all great and super helpful. At least we think so. But if you want to go a little bit deeper, we have our podcast, The Wedding Film School Show, and that is on a separate channel called The Wedding Film School Show. So check that out. Here's a little teaser that you see in the background while I talk. We have myself, Jay, and Jared. We have tons of amazing guests that we brought on the show throughout our seasons. And we tackle the big stuff, the stuff that you can't make a video of, hey, top 3 gimbal moves or anything like that. We go deep into some topics, and we have the time to really do that. So join us over on our other channel, The Wedding Film School Show.
I'm excited, Bobby, this week because
we have some really cool stuff coming out.
Daniel from the Music Bed, we had him last week.
Who is the founder, right?
The founder, yeah. And we talked about, did you know this? He was a wedding filmmaker. That's part of why they have.
That makes sense.
So this is, I'll drop one thing. You should listen to the episode. It's actually incredibly good.
Well, you can't listen to it yet, but you will be able to soon.
Later today. It's coming out today, actually. But the thing about that everyone always, what's the biggest complaint people have about the Music Bed?
Right now it seems to be their stuff still getting flagged.
Yeah, we talk about that. But the other one, the old school complaint, like the normal complaint about Music Bed.
Oh, I don't know. I don't have
too
very
expensive.
Many complaints about. Oh,
yeah, people say they're too expensive. You know, they're not, but they are compared to some other products out there.
Compared to other things.
So do you know that they do 50-50 artist split?
I did not know that.
That's why they're so expensive. And so other people buy the entire catalog, and so the person doesn't make money off you licensing their film. But with Music Bed, you're supporting artists, and that's one of the reasons we want to support them as artists ourselves, because that's how.
Plus, we think they're the best,
and they have the best selection. So duh. Yeah. So anyway, why don't you tell us about our next film, Bob?
Yes. So our next one, we already know they're in chat, coming to us from James Kilroy Films, and let me see the details here. Very first wedding highlight. We love that right off the bat. Started out last year live streaming ceremonies. Used 2 Canon EOS Rs and a 85 millimeter. Locked off wider shots interspersed with another R with a 35. But first mistake was this camera was in log, whereas I opted for a neutral picture profile in my main camera, and you can see the difference. As some of the log stuff wasn't exposed properly and had trouble grading it. Audio was also a challenge, impromptu speeches, some peaking, barely graded it.
Sounds like this is going to be just great.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have some comments on that. Booking was for a UK evening reception only, as the couple got married in Vegas and spent 8 weeks in the US.
Wow.
Packing as many
So I'm
shots
assuming they
of as
paid you a
many
lot of
different
money because these people
as
are
possible.
loaded.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, he was told to pack in as many shots of as many different people as possible, document the evening. Going for a 3-minute highlight, but halfway through editing, the bride said that the photographer's photos sucked. So extend it to include as many people as possible.
Maybe she should have saved some money on her 8-week vacation and hired a real photographer.
In the end, I was on site for 5 hours and delivered a 1-minute teaser, an almost 7-minute highlight, and a second copy with some family interviews.
This is what I'm going to tell you. This is what I'm going to tell you. I've seen this film.
I haven't.
He's underselling. It obviously has issues, but you're going to
Well, I mean, anybody's underselling at that price point.
Well, I just mean even the way he talks about himself. So
Yeah.
I think
Confidence
James
is key. This is the very first one. It sounds like he's probably done some more.
James,
probably good that he had some wedding experience doing the live streaming.
James had commented one time, and I don't, James, you're in chat, but so you put it in public, so I don't mind saying it. But James had said that he was on the older side and just started making wedding films, and I was like, that is so cool.
Oh, love that.
Yeah, like he's like, I'm gonna get into this. So it's like, hey, it's never too late to get into wedding filmmaking. We think it's a great career, and I think you actually, ahead of time, I'll say, I think you're onto something here, James. So without further ado,
Let's do it.
You want to do
Next
this film?
5 minutes dedicated to James. Here we go.
We made it back from our horrible 8-week trip. We had to travel in total just under 20,000 miles with no private jet. It really was tough. We had to bike along Venice Beach in LA. In Vegas, we watched The Killers. We watched about 3 Cirque du Soleil shows, magician shows. We met up with our guests. We got drunk. And most importantly, we got married. Itself was amazing, and it got better as the day went on. The morning was filled with emotions, and I was fairly calm. Emily, on the other hand, did not share the same experience. The ceremony itself didn't quite go to plan. We asked our guests to move into the chapel as the nerves got the better of Emily. The songs we requested didn't quite go in the order we asked, so therefore I got a bit emotional when the song that come on, when I was expecting Emily to come down the aisle, come down.
Oh no.
Fortunately, my beautiful wife did walk down the aisle, and Jim, Emily's dad, passed me my Mrs. Rose. When I reached out to shake Jim's hand to say thank you, he passed me his bottle of water. Maybe that was his way of saying don't bottle it. Who knows? I don't know. We really did have the best time ever, and I wouldn't have wanted to do it for anyone else. So please, everyone, put your hands together and let's have a drink.
So, Bobby, I'm going to pause this one and fast forward a little bit, just so because I want to make sure we at least, this is a 7-minute film, I want to hit a couple of the different locations.
Cool.
So, but there was more people cocktail houring right there. Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. That girl's had some work done. All right, we'll do the last 2 minutes here.
Cool.
You know what's the thing about dancing, Bobby? I can't dance, so I can't tell if people are good at dancing or bad at dancing. You know one of these things.
I can't dance either.
Can't or won't. I don't know.
True.
Sorry, guys, for skipping around. I just want to make sure we're able to give this good feedback. I wonder if that's his light. I like it, if it is.
I don't think it is. I think it was rotating around. I could be wrong.
Well, he found some good light, so that's nice. Yeah. All right, Bobby. So why don't we get started? What are some things you liked about his film?
Yeah, so I think I have 3 things written down here. First of all, as we kind of go into the back half, I know that we skipped around, but you definitely had this, like, you have an understanding of a clear distinction between like different points of a day and the use of music. Basically, all that to say is, like, I could tell that you're trying to kind of match the pace of more upbeat song with kind of the party footage and dancing and whatever. Now, it still feels long, and we're going to get into that in the
mean words section.
In the mean words section, but it doesn't feel long. Like, even if you were the best editor in the world who matched the beat and had all this crazy footage, it would still feel long just because it's a lot of dancing. So that's not
long.
Like
it just
lot of
is long.
Yeah, that's not like but like I recognize the trying to match the pace and have this kind of distinct 2 halves to the film, and I like that.
Yes.
I also think that you have a lot of, like, you have some very good shots in here. First of all, like that outside, like, lake golf club, wherever it is, type of stuff looks really nice. And you also have like there are definitely shots, not all of them obviously, but there are plenty of shots that you are really experimenting with your light and your use of shadows and exposure and stuff like that. And not in a, like, I underexposed and it's bad kind of way, but like very clearly, like, I know there was like the shot of the girls dancing on the dance floor and it's very like crushed black and they're in the highlights, and you have some stuff like that. You clearly understand kind of trying to use that light that Jay thinks is yours and I don't think is yours.
I'm just questioning. I'm just curious.
Yeah. And then also, look, ultimately, this is a great example of, we're going to have our critiques and we're going to get into that in a minute. But, we kind of started this by saying, we're critiquing this as a filmmaker, as, is this a good film? Is this good marketing? But ultimately, what you did is what we want to kind of safeguard against and say, like, look, we understand that this is the case ultimately, and this is the most important. And that is that you delivered what they wanted. According to what you typed up, right? Like, you took on a very hard assignment. I have never shot just a reception. I probably would never shoot it because I would have maybe earlier in my career. But at this
I would
point,
say
like, I don't want to. I don't know what the story would be.
Some of the criticisms that you're making on the film, I think are just not necessarily his fault.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying is like you delivered exactly what they wanted. Like that's a positive. That's a good thing. And so I think you did a good job of doing that, of understanding what the actual assignment was and doing it. So
I always am looking to see, like, is this day too big for this filmmaker? Do they know what they're supposed to be covering? Are they like up for the task? Do they honestly, like, it seems like non-filmmaky, but do they have a motor? You know, some people, they have no motor, and they just are not catching stuff and they're not onto it. So I feel like, you know, as a wedding filmmaker, you're going to be very good at this when you start to get a better sense of the stories you want to tell and your editing. And I that's my biggest compliment is like, because I work with lots of people. Our team, you know, we have about like 12 people we're training up right now. So I work with young filmmakers, people who are just in the beginning stages. And I don't let someone go to a wedding until I think they have the motor and the pacing down. And that's like the biggest thing where I'm like, they could be a decent wedding filmmaker because they're going to know where to be and they're going to know what to cover. That seems really rudimentary, but it's actually really big.
No. Yeah, absolutely. And like James definitely has an understanding.
Mm-hmm. And the coverage is very solid. Like, you know, the way, obviously, I think he needs a light. And I think there's some exposure issues, but overall, I was like, yeah, it looks totally fine to me. I didn't see any. Mostly, he undersold his camera abilities as well. So
I would agree. Yeah.
There's a lot of positives there. So let's talk about things that we can get better, because when you're just starting out, obviously there's a lot of things you can do to improve. And I think the first thing I would tell you is never sell a 7-minute film for this small amount of coverage. Don't do it. The couple could say, we want it, and say no. Just keep saying no, because a film like this, this is a boring film. There's just not enough coverage. So you have to include everything. And that's just not the best way to maximize wedding filmmaking, is just including everything. You really should be including the best things that are relevant, things that drive the story forward. And if this film was 5 minutes rather than 7, and really, on my opinion, Bobby, this is like twice as too long, like a 4-minute film. And then the other thing,
a reminder on that, just so you know, he actually is in comments as well. So I don't know if you're in there, but he does say he did a 1-minute teaser as well, and the 1-minute teaser is much better.
Yeah, so I would just say 1 minute, 5 minute, like the increments of increasing. Maybe that's just too much of a. You can't make what you don't have content for.
Yep.
And you don't have a content for a 7-minute thing. The other thing I would tell you is, I don't know the situation, James, but I'll tell you, make your couples do at least a small portrait session. Like, take them out, make them do something romantic. Some people call them portraits. I've heard people call them romantics.
Like, I don't think there was one shot of just the couple.
No, it was straight up event coverage, and that's not terrible, but I just think, like, I've never ever had a couple say, hey, can I take you out for 10 minutes in that beautiful light that you had, where you were can I take you out for 5 or 10 minutes and we get a little bit of footage? I mean, this piece would be infinitely better if it had some portrait stuff and some more details of tables and just more details throughout the film. I feel like that's my feedback.
Yeah. So I think I have definitely some similar things. Like I do think it's too long, just like Jay. I think, it's kind of that catch-22 where, like, you deliver what they wanted, but we're talking from a standpoint of a film, not as the client and as a potential marketing tool and whatever. It's too long. But I like that you have the teaser. Like, this is not a film I would put on your website. This is not a film I would try to attract other clients with, because this is probably not what you want to do. Like you want to do a full wedding day, right? Probably not just a reception. So careful with how it's marketed, in my opinion. And then kind of going to Jay again, like make sure, I think this is something that a lot of people, you learn it along your career, but the earlier you learn it and get more comfortable with it, the better, which is make sure to understand about being the expert. So yeah, absolutely. I would have asked to take the couple for 10 minutes at sunset. You are the filmmaker, ask for what you need. And and for like what's realistic as far as a finished product in length or whatever, like they are coming to you and you can kind of set the boundaries for all.
And by the way,
if you want
that starts before the wedding day, right, Bobby?
Yep, that's in the initial meeting, even probably.
Yeah, the consult. Like, hey, I love to take you out for a few minutes.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Like, I think a 7-minute film is probably too long, given that like, we're really only covering half of a typical wedding day. But I think I could probably put together something that's like 3 minutes for you guys. And also, I see that in your schedule, you don't have any time for you two scheduled in there. I'd love to put in, 10, 15 minutes around sunset at the very least. But if you're willing to give me more time, even maybe half an hour before the reception starts, I'd love to go somewhere cool with you guys and get some awesome shots for the film.
100%. I mean, that's big.
Client education is a big part of this. Even you could be the best cameraman, and if you can't educate your clients, you're just going to run into problems. And then the only other thing that I have written down, I always recommend a light. You use that one light which worked, but that light was different colors throughout the day. So when it was that white light, it looked nice. But the bigger thing is, I think you mentioned that you only shot on an 85 and a 35. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that, but I think knowing when to use which lens, like the one that really stands out to me is you're very clearly, I'm pretty sure at least, on the 35 for the groom's speech. And it's kind of weird. Like the framing is just weird. I can't remember if you can see his feet.
I think it's weird. It is weird. You can see a lot of barrel distortion.
Yep. Like that one, I would 100% go on the 85 for that. Get tighter on him. So just like kind of being, and some of these shots, like I think you can clearly tell, like, oh, you were intentional or whatever, but throughout the whole day, just being intentional about which lens or which body you're on or whatever. So,
Raphael in chat says, sometimes I use the photographer when the photographer takes them out for the photo shoot. And yes, that is that's how mostly it happens. Like 97% of the time you're double dipping. So,
and I would almost encourage you to do exactly that and to not do something different. I don't like the idea of taking the couple for a video only section.
I'm okay with it.
I think it's okay to say, hey, I'm going to kind of lead for this part.
This is what I found a few times, Bobby. If I'm working with someone who I'm like, hey, this light is amazing, let's go. And the photographer's like, oh, they said they don't want to. I'm going to be like, all right.
I don't care then. Yeah.
See ya, dude.
100%.
I'm going to get the couple and get out of here. But most of the time, especially, James, like, I'm going to say it, like, photographers are better at portrait sessions than filmmakers.
Oh yeah.
And
I run out of ideas so quick.
Well, and like they do that. That's all they do.
Yeah.
And so, and James, he said they only had a photo shoot in Vegas, so they only wanted to party though. This is what I would tell them. No.
No.
I would say, wow, that's so amazing. Oh yeah, I totally get that. But like, it will just make the film so much better. I've never had a couple who's like, you don't know what you're talking about. We know how to make a wedding film better than you. We're not going to listen to it all. Blah, 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 blah.
I think my response to that would be like, maybe you intro it as something more broad. Like, I'd love to find some time to just go out with just you two and get something awesome. And they're like, no, we just want to party. We already did that stuff in Vegas. And then I would say, how about just 10 minutes at sunset?
Yeah. Like, just... They do want to party. They do want to party, but they don't like. Do you really need to drink for 5 straight hours to have a good time at your wedding? You don't. And actually, let me give you a line I use. I'll give all of you guys this.
The line is this: no.
The line is, on a wedding day, you're not going to have any time where it's just you. And it'll be just really great to take a little time and be alone from everyone, just to kind of like connect with each other, kind of take stock of the day. So I'm always trying to appeal to their emotions and make it feel like it's going to enhance their day. by taking a little time. So there's a lot of things you can do. I mean, one of the ones is you paid a lot of money for this, but they didn't pay a lot of money for this. So you don't have that. But we paid a lot of money for this, and we want to make sure we get the best possible coverage. Anyway, James, keep doing it, man. Keep
definitely
going.
keep doing it.
I'm really encouraged by what you're doing, and you're onto something.
Love it. Good job.
Yeah, dude. All right. Final film.
Final film. So you cue this up. I'll tee it up while you cue it up. And if you guys are in chat right now, go ahead and hit that like button for us. We'd appreciate it as we get this third film up, and it is from, my mic is blocking me, Pedro Gaimoda. I'm probably butchering that last name.
Yeah, I can't tell if it's Spain or Italy, but it doesn't look like Italy.
I mean, either way.
But
yeah, so Pedro Gaimoda, and let's see, using a Sony a7 III and a Tamron 28-75 all day. Just me. Had to run from one side to the other, the groom's house, then the bride's house. Photographer was family. He was there, very, very.
I think Portugal, by the way, Bobby. I think he's in Portugal.
A lot of things were done in a hurry. And church ceremony started without any warning. We're seeing if he was ready. Yeah, I mean, I think, I don't know. We'll talk about that. But almost completely missed the bride walking down the aisle. Kind of a disaster. Second wedding he's ever done. And he says, I didn't have enough experience at the time to get ahead and take care of the situation.
Isn't that what we were talking about before, though? Like, that is wedding filmmaking. Like, there's a whole, like, good shots, good editing. But before you even get to that, it's like be in the right place and be pointed at the right
understand thing. Yeah. But yeah, we're excited to review it. Are we ready?
We are ready.
Let's do it.
Justice League 2.
Prometo amar todos os dias da nossa vida.
By the way, we don't understand what this person is saying. It could have been the most profound thing ever said or the most inane thing. Let's just assume what that person said was super profound, Bobby.
I will write that into my notes and assume accordingly.
What's left to learn, but I'm not even close. Through my inhibition, I've become quite sure.
But we understand the lyrics in the song.
Yes.
That this could be the easiest thing if I'd let it, but I'm too afraid of losing it all. 'Cause if I leave everything on the table, then you might break my heart. But I know a love like this doesn't come around every day, and I just can't bring myself to give up right now. Not this way, 'cause I love you and I wanna hold you when we're old and gray. Oh, but love like this don't come around every day. Never been quite sure of myself or anyone else, but here I am with you. So I put my hesitations on the shelf, 'cause this is what I choose. This will be the easiest thing if I let it, and I can't be too afraid to fall.
I'm just going to pause here because I don't want to forget this, Bobby. But
yeah,
and it's the end of the show, so we can just go crazy.
We can do whatever we want. There's no rules.
These are interesting moments in these films because I'm looking at this and I'm like, well, it seems emotional, but I have no idea what's going on. You know, and maybe that's just I can't read what she said and stuff, but it's like conceptually,
Yeah.
when you're telling a wedding film story, Bobby, and you hit a moment like this where you know it's meaningful and it's definitely, you know, the emotion is communicated in the bride's face. She's got tears in her eyes and all this. How do you handle it when something like is really hard to contextualize for a viewer that wasn't there?
I'm usually tying stuff into audio or tying stuff to the music or something like that. I'm not sure if that's what you're asking.
Well, would you include something that you didn't have any audio to communicate what was going on? I mean, obviously
probably not.
But I don't know. I feel like I would include this. I feel like I would include
I think you
this.
can. Yeah, I think you can include some stuff. I think, you know, what this reminds me of is, remember the video that we reviewed maybe 2 weeks ago? It was at Lambeau Field, the Packers Stadium.
Yes.
And there was a long sequence where the bride gave her dad
Something.
it was like a tie or something that goes on your tie or whatever.
But there was audio.
And it was this. There was audio, but it was this really, really long sequence of that. And so it was like, take the audio out because it was low quality audio anyway. But like, it was like, I wouldn't focus on it. I wouldn't make it a cornerstone of the film. But yeah, I could see including it.
Well, and it's also like one of those things where it's like your goal is to communicate emotion. And so you start getting into art versus, you know.
Well, and we kind of get into, I mean, basically what that could boil down to is what would the client want, right?
100%.
So
and you know the client's going to want.
We might not understand or whatever, but they remember that on their day. They know, like, oh, that was when I, you know, whatever.
Handed out the thing that no one, I don't know what it is. And maybe, by the way, any of my Portuguese-speaking friends that are in the chat that can, like, communicate what was being handed out there, that would be great. What does this say?
It looks like, I think we're going to see it, actually.
Yeah, they show it right here.
Stitched in the dress, yeah.
What does this say?
I speak some Spanish, I feel like, but I can't read that.
Either way, interesting concept.
It looks like it could be like somebody's handwriting or something.
It is. It's going to be some family member. It's got to be something. Either way, interesting kind of philosophical.
I can't read.
I can't read it either. Philosophical discussion about like including things that are meaningful to couples, but maybe meaningless to everyone else. And moving on.
Tough call.
And I can't be too afraid to fall. So I'm leaving everything on the table. You can
Beautiful.
Nah, that's a pretty ugly church.
Yeah, I know. It's like
Patrícia e Vasco.
It's hard to lose on that
para
one.
celebrar o vosso matrimónio. É de vosso livre vontade, de todo o coração, que pretendeis fazê-lo.
É assim. Eu, Vasco, recebo por minha esposa, a ti, Patrícia, e prometo ser-te fiel, amar-te e respeitar-te na alegria e na tristeza, na saúde e na doença, todos os dias da nossa vida.
Eu, Patrícia, recebo-te como meu esposo, a ti, Vasco, e prometo ser-te fiel, amar-te e respeitar-te na alegria e na tristeza, na saúde e na doença, todos os dias da nossa vida.
Patrícia, recebe esta aliança como sinal do meu amor e da minha fidelidade, em nome do Pai, do Filho e do Espírito Santo.
Vasco, recebe esta aliança como sinal do meu amor e da minha fidelidade, em nome do Pai, do Filho e do Espírito Santo.
Palmas para os noivos.
Hey, dude's like right up there on a gimbal.
Gotta give me some love, cause when I'm with you, I'm in paradise. You know how to make me feel alive. Gotta give me some love, nah, nah. Gotta give me some love, nah, nah, nah. Gotta give me some love, nah, nah, nah. You gotta give me some love, nah, nah, nah. Gotta give me some love, nah, nah, nah.
I want to know what that tradition is.
I can't even pay attention to this. It's moving me too much. He dances just like I do. That was weird.
'Cause this might be love. It's a feeling that I can't get rid of. So just take my hand. I wanna be with you until the end. Stay with me, take a chance, baby, roll the dice. Gotta give me some love, 'cause when I'm with you, I'm in paradise. You know how to make me feel alive. Gotta give me some love, nah, nah. Gotta give me some love, nah, nah, nah. Gotta give me some love, nah, nah, nah. You gotta give me some love, nah, nah, nah. Gotta give me some love, nah, nah, nah.
Dang, second wedding in a row with the cool sparkler entrance. Second week in a row.
Can they do that? Are they allowed to wear sombreros? I don't know. Cool.
All right. Well, thank you, Pedro, for submitting
Yes.
and
So
letting us watch your film.
let's talk about it. Bobby, why don't you start?
Yeah, so things that I loved. I think you had some really, really good shots in here. There was some nice sun flare. There was a couple shots of the couple that I really liked. Like just a handful of shots that really stood out to me. I also think, you told a pretty, we don't really have as much understanding of what was said, and there wasn't a ton of audio, but you told a pretty complete wedding story. And then two of the things I really liked are, in a general sense, I feel like I always reward experimenting, right? So I don't know if we've reviewed your films before. I don't remember off the top
I
of my
think
head.
he said this was his second film, so probably not.
Oh, well, with that in mind, like I would say ramp up everything a notch on my
Positive
compliments,
meter.
'cause, yeah, like that's very good for a second film. Very, very good. I always like experimenting. I like, you had this kind of intro sequence, you had some speed ramps, you had, stuff like that, which I think is like, do they all hit? Maybe, maybe not. But I like seeing people trying, and I like seeing people kind of pushing what they want to do creatively and finding, not even their niche, so to speak, but finding their look and their style and whatever. And I think that's important as creatives. And then I also really liked, I always love, I don't know about you, Jay, I'm kind of a sucker for like those intro sequences of a film. Like I love that kind of like a little more upbeat, like recap, hit many points in the day. Maybe it's some fast edits, and then we kind of die out and we get into like the wedding. I feel like that's becoming more popular, so maybe I'll hate it in like a year or two. But I know we see that with some other people who submit to us regularly.
My opinion on the whole
well.
thing is just, you better be freaking good. So
True. Those are the things that I loved.
Okay. I think the coverage was solid. I think a lot of really mature shots that don't look like a person with their second wedding. Even like, this is just like Catholic, especially Catholic or Orthodox or wherever, like churches that are like that can be a little tricky to cover because people are doing stuff like that, like facing all weird directions. And all that. And ultimately, like, you showed, courage. You got up and you just shot what you wanted to shoot. Which maybe is good, maybe is bad. I'm always like a little hesitant about getting in people's faces during their ceremonies. But definitely takes guts. And I think you showed that you're ready to cover. And then I also think it's weird, man, because I felt like it was like two totally different styles of shooting throughout the film that I would see from time to time.
That's on one of my critiques.
Like that shot right there is horrible. Like this should not be in the film. Like
which one?
This one right here.
The kissing.
The reverse kissing that's totally overexposed and not white balanced properly.
Yeah.
Because you walk straight out of a ceremony. Like I know the reason. It's not.
Yeah.
Like
we get it.
Yeah, but like, but at the same time, like when we're doing like this, once he switched into this stuff, I was like, oh yeah, this is what this film needs to be like. This is the film. Like it's got these soft tones.
I have like a very similar. When we get into critiques, I have a very similar.
Yeah, so I think like there's a lot of places in the film where you just really captured the essence of the day and the essence of the couple, and you know that's definitely critical and important to do. So,
Sweet.
What do you think? How could he improve his filmmaking?
Okay, I have a couple small things. First off, I so dislike the first shot that you used. You're doing this sequence, this hype intro, whatever sequence, and it's
hideous.
Pointless to me. I have no idea what it is. It's not really a good shot. There's no like dynamic.
It's shot log. It's not white balance properly.
Yeah, like so get rid of that. Like I'm so big on put your best foot forward. You may have 15 seconds of a couple on your wedding or on your website, potential couple, right? And again, we're talking from a marketing standpoint, but like to wow them and to bring them in and say, yeah, no, I want to watch this full film, or yeah, I need to send this guy an email, right, about my wedding. And this is not it. So, didn't love that. And then okay, so kind of getting to this intro sequence, which I kind of praised in doing, but I do have some nitpicking with it. So the first shot, and then you have this upbeat, you know, kind of interesting fast music intro sequence, and then that fast music like cuts, and then we have this one shot of the couple that's like its own sequence by the car, and it has some dialogue that I think Raphael said, I'm gonna love you forever for the rest of my life or something.
Yeah, right here.
And it's like that's like two intro sequences. Like either find a way to incorporate that. I don't know. I didn't like the way that flowed for me.
Yeah, let's just talk about the intro sequence together, and then we'll keep going.
And then we can go on to the next.
Yeah, I think this intro sequence is very bad. Like, I was like, this ruins the film for me.
Yeah.
Like, I had to have a palate cleanser of the beginning of the next film.
I just don't think it was the right.
It's not the right couple.
I like the idea of an intro sequence if that's what you want, but it wasn't the right shots.
Not the right song either. This was not epic. This day was not an epic day. There's nothing wrong with that. This is sweet people.
Yeah.
Like in a beautiful European town. Like it's got all the opportunity to bring us into that old world. Picturesque.
You kind of mentioned like these two different shots. It's almost like these two different films too, where it's like, yeah, you have this like intense like Star Wars. What did you say? Like Avengers or whatever were coming back or whatever, and then you go into this like soft European.
It felt so much better though, right?
Oh yeah, I like that feel. It's just like I like the idea of a intro. I don't think they didn't line up. It was just this like very like black and white, you know, like two very different.
Yeah, I agree.
It's hard to mesh.
It was very. It just didn't work. But anyway, moving on.
What's up, Kyle? And then my other thing that I want to speak on, and this is kind of what you were saying before. So I had written down I have very loose notes with lots of words missing in between, but two types of shots, high quality versus coverage. And so I think that's kind of what you were pointing at, Jay. Like there's some very good shots in this, especially for being a second film or a second wedding, where you very clearly understand, and it looks beautiful, and it's so like subtle. Like this stuff, I love that. The dress, I love. Like and some of the couple stuff is great. So you have these like great, well thought out, well executed shots, but then they're butted up against these like straight coverage shots,
or even shots like this that are clearly not exposed properly,
so
and also
desaturated.
Log.
Yeah, in log or whatever, where it's like. Ah man, if you could
this one right here, super overexposed. I just wouldn't even
figure it out a little bit on some of these shots, or how to kind of find this middle ground. I think it's just like there's some very jarring back and forth between the types of shots that you have in here, because you have some really awesome stuff.
Well,
and the coverage is good, but then the coverage is just like it just sticks out kind of to me.
Yeah, there even just like I felt like when he was getting into certain situations, he was feeling like, even the way he described it, he's like, oh, it was a nightmare day. I almost missed this. I almost missed that. I almost missed this.
He's probably running around like crazy.
Yeah, and I would say, like, whatever your day of approach is, you got to simplify it because you need higher quality coverage.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. Yeah, I think those are my main things.
I think my thing is your portrait work. There's the thing you have the most control over is your portrait work. When you're doing portraits with someone, you can be like, hold on, guys, I'm going to expose my camera. Hold on, guys, I'm going to get a really great composition. Like, you can control.
Yeah, keep it right there. Whatever.
Yeah, like, and a lot of this stuff was overexposed. And it just seemed like you were slow your brain. Like, you just got to slow your mind down and really give yourself a little bit of that Zen moment and have a plan and have a goal. Like a shot like that. Like, I look at this shot and I'm like, why include a shot like this in your film? And this is my editing critique, is like, there's a lot of shots in here that, like you had already mentioned, but just to, I don't know, beat a dead horse.
Yeah.
Why include a shot like this? Not like the back. There's a bunch of cars in the background. The movement isn't great.
I have some shots like that, but I don't put them in the edit.
Yes, that's what we're talking about. Is like, as a storyteller, you don't have to show the things that won't help you grow. And you can only, like, that's a beautiful shot. That's great. There's so many positives. So I don't want to sound like we're crapping on the film and being overly critical. But then there's just a lot of things where you're like, you can see the just the stress in the shots and the panic. And I would just encourage you, like, remember that. Remember the areas of the day where you felt stressed, like when you followed the couple out and then you forgot to re-expose your image and white balance it. And you didn't anticipate that you were about to go outside and be in super bright sun. So these are all things I'm planning. I'm like, okay, at the end of the ceremony, we're going to walk out of the Catholic church, because I shoot Catholic weddings. We do this a lot, Bobby. You're going to walk out of the Catholic church, and the couple's going to want to get a kiss on the front. Not always possible, but I know I'm going to try my darndest to, when I hit that black, I'm not going to use that shot anyway, and I'm going to just immediately re-expose for the sun.
Yeah.
Really quick, like, kill that ISO.
Crank that shutter, whatever.
Do whatever I need to do, because I want to get that shot. And it's like, I'm thinking ahead, and you can think ahead too.
Yep.
And you'll get better films. You will, because you'll have more high quality shots and less just straight up coverage shots that are kind of like throwaway.
Agreed.
So that's my feedback. I think keep going and keep doing it. You're a good filmmaker. Like, I'll give him one more compliment, which is the dance floor was way too long. So and I will say also, get in there, like, actually get in that dance floor, because you're way too far away. But I did think, like, he was kind of resonating with that energy on the dance floor, and I think lean into that as a filmmaker.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, Bobby. Well, that was a lot of fun today.
I agree.
Do we want to see if somebody wants to throw us a film, or do we want to not do that today?
I said we got time.
Yeah, we do have time. And anybody who
All
wants
right,
who wants a film?
If you guys are in chat right now, what I need you to do is I need you to go over to this link that I will post. Yep, that is correct. I'll post it 3 times for you. And submit a film. We've got room for one more. Hit us with the link to your film. Make sure that you just let us know that, with your the music that is licensed. It doesn't need to be licensed. And we'll give you about 5 minutes here. How about that?
Yeah.
We'll give you 5 minutes to submit. If you already submitted today while we were streaming, you don't need to submit again. We'll make note of it on the form that it populates, and we'll know that. And then we're gonna just pick one at random.
Yeah. So
submit. 5 minutes. Clock starts now.
All right, Bobby. Let's pick a topic. What are we gonna talk about? You pick a topic. What are we gonna talk about?
Okay. So, well, I can talk about my editing woes, which is my computer running out of application memory.
Yeah. Okay.
But
the M1 issues, that is a legitimate issue.
It's so annoying. And the frustrating thing is, like, I did. This is my third wedding, I think, on the M1 that when I upgraded, and like, I didn't have this issue with the other two. So what the heck?
So
like the application memory, it's like RAM and stuff, right?
I've had some serious issues with
fix your shit, Apple.
The M1s where it's kind of Apple, but it's also a lot of it is the manufacturers. Because if you don't know how the M1 works, people, basically it's like this. In the old days, you had a graphics card and you had a CPU. But the M1 chip is integrated graphics card and CPU in one chip. So they call it like an integrated architecture. So the way that the two sides of most applications are using CPU and GPU. And the way that they integrate obviously smooths out. That's why you're getting crazy performance off of these much, much lower spec cameras or computers now. But traditional ways that a lot of these platforms are using like resources of a computer now have to be reworked. So when they're going in and they're like, we use GPU for this. Well, if the architecture is not optimized, or if the NLE, the editing platform, non-linear editor is what that stands for. If that is not something that's up to, like, they haven't fixed it. For instance, a good friend, one of my favorite plugins, when we switched over to M1, we realized it was adding these weird fuzzy edges to all our clips. And so just stuff isn't optimized yet. I'm not saying that's an excuse. I am saying to everyone, if you're using M1 and you're having frustrations with the M1 chip, probably you'll have less of them in Final Cut Pro, first of all. And second of all, I think it's going to, over the next couple months, just get a lot better as the people start criticizing. But if you want to give feedback to someone, you can give it to Apple, but it's kind of useless. Go to the manufacturers of the things that you're using, though, and tell them this does not work on M1, and you will get some better results because they're the ones who need to make the changes, not Apple.
Yeah.
So that's my... That's
what I'm dealing with.
That
but
sucks.
You know what I'm also dealing with is, and maybe it's related, who even knows, this is probably not though, but maybe this is the first wedding where I had a second shooter. This was a destination wedding for me. I hired somebody local, and he shot with Cinetone on his Sony. What's the one that looks like an A7 III and whatever, but it's
R or something? A7R?
No, it's not the R. It's like the A7. No, it's like the FX3 or something.
The FX3, yeah, the same
like
camera but weird square.
So we shot with that. So Cinetone is like pretty nice.
I like S-Cinetone. It's if you haven't used S-Cinetone, whoa, what happened here? Oh no. S-Cinetone is like a log-ish profile. It reminds me of the film setting on a Blackmagic camera. It's more saturated than like an S-Log3 S Gamma, but it's so it makes it a little faster in post. I still shoot S-Log3 just because, whatever, I'm used to it and I don't have an issue. But definitely, if you're just getting started with log, you have a much easier time.
It's a good like in between. Like I shot log a little bit a couple years ago, and I just didn't like. I don't know. For whatever
you just have to have
reason,
you have to have a workflow that accommodates for
I didn't
normalizing
like
your
and
footage.
it just slowed me down. But using this Cinetone, I'm like, dang, I should maybe shoot that because
pretty good.
It's kind of that in between. Yeah, it's really nice.
You just add a little contrast. You add some saturation.
You don't have to bump up stuff too much. You just add a little bit in, and then you have a little more range with it too, and whatnot.
So if you don't know why log is good,
wait, before you go into it, one more minute to submit your films at the following link.
Yes, log basically gives you more dynamic range. With the trade-off being it looks absolutely hideous out of camera. But you just got to get some saturation in there. And, it's one of those and the other thing about if you shoot log, a lot of people don't use a correction LUT in their monitors, which is what that is the number. If I see people are like, I shot log and they're inexperienced, and then I look at their film and I'm like, everything was overexposed. I know that they weren't using a correction LUT in their monitor because if they were, so you can't have those issues shooting log. But at the end of the day, it gives you more latitude in post, which is great.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm not going to say it's cut off because I guess if one pops in while I'm doing it, that's fine by me. But I'm going to go ahead and start to find.
All right. You tell me which one. I gotta get it displayed.
Oh, yeah, you do. What day is today? What the heck, everybody? Why are you? Wait.
They're on there.
Yeah. But like, why are the dates? They're so weird.
I don't know. This person submitted this in 11, 12.
Yeah, that's what I was, like.
That's weird.
Today, 28th. Yeah. Well, whatever. We'll just go through these. Okay, so we've got.
Do you want to do one of Kyle's?
I like kind of the making it random. I feel like that's fair.
It is fair. I just want someone whose film I can download. So.
Oh, gotcha. Well, let's see what we end up with here. What makes it downloadable versus not downloadable?
The person making it downloadable. So.
Oh. Gotcha. Well, I mean, up to you, I guess. Although that kind of defeats the purpose of doing it in midstream. But
no. I just didn't have my setup.
To you.
I didn't have my setup perfect. So, I mean, I might be able to just play. It would look a little better if I download it. We could just play it off the laptop. So it's up to you. But.
I said we do it random. Although it could still be Kyle.
It could be.
So let's see here.
Let's go.
I'm going to tell you. We're inputting the numbers. And it actually is Kyle. It's number 6. Kyle was the last one to do it, which was the 6th. So there you go.
Great. So
everybody's happy.
I'm happy. We're all happy. Everyone's happy.
Also, you guys can't see my screen. I need to find a way to like stream my screen, but I put in. We had 6 entries.
Hey,
in the last 5 minutes.
Bobby. Soon you're gonna have the ability when we get you that ATEM. So, my computer is frozen. So give me 1 second. But yeah, this was a fun stream, guys. Hey, a couple things just I wanted to point out while we're on stream. Means a lot to the channel, more so than really any of the other stuff that people can do. If you go ahead and just share this film with people, means a lot to us. It helps a lot when people, or not share this film, but when you are watching this and you're enjoying it, say, hey, go ahead and share. Hey, I'm watching this. Put it on social media. Means a lot. It helps a lot. And ultimately, we can't do this without your support. So we're super, super grateful as wedding filmmakers that we get to do this, but also super grateful that you guys support us. Everyone who's come into this, I mean, you guys are the ones who make Wedding Film School what it is, and we couldn't be more grateful for all that stuff. So here we go. So I'm going to export this video as ProRes because it must be ProRes.
Cool. While you do that, I'll let everybody else know. If your film did not get picked for right now, or just in general, no worries. We are here every single week. So you are welcome to resubmit. We'll actually probably keep the films that you submitted today will stay on that list. So they're a potential for next week. That's part of why we do it. We love kind of just front loading our catalog. But you know, if you submitted a week ago or something like that for this current one and we didn't pick yours, feel free to resubmit it if you want a chance at getting reviewed. And again, if you want a higher chance of getting reviewed, kind of priority in the line, you can become a member, which is down below. You hit the little join button next to subscribe. Starts at just $5 a month. You're not locked into anything. It helps this channel out, and you get some benefits of it too, like priority in getting your films reviewed. So,
how has the Crane 3 been for you since you got it, or the Weeble 3?
I really like it still. I've used it now at like 5 weddings or maybe or something. I think I need to kind of in like reviewing the film, the footage now. I need to be a little more careful with my walk compared to what I was doing with the OG Crane. So good feedback. It's not anything major, but I see a little bit of bounce up and down in my footage, which kind of drives me nuts sometimes. But yeah, I'm really liking it. I think it's a great product.
We just got
check out my review.
We just got 2 of them.
Oh, really? Okay. What about you? Are you liking it?
I actually haven't shot a wedding with it yet, but I've messed around. I'm looking forward to messing around with that light. I have a couple creative ideas, and I'd like to do something.
I'll be curious to see how you use it. Yeah.
But I like it. It's. I mean, everyone on the team loves it, and they'll fight for it every weekend. Yeah. So that's a good sign.
Like, it works, and it's small, and it's easy, and it has like 28 hours of battery life or some insane.
I will agree that the motor strength, you feel it.
Yeah.
In the smoothness. So anyway, here's a film. Why don't you give us details on Kyle's films?
Oh yeah. Let's see what was submitted. So this is coming from Kyle Smith, one of our recurring submitters,
and an excellent filmmaker in the United States.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of hate when Kyle submits because I'm just like, I gotta work really, really hard to find things.
I just hate it because he's always up in Rhode Island now taking my work.
Yeah. Yeah. Where is he based out of?
DC.
DC. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. Because I reached out to him. I was in DC recently, and I was like, "Where's a good
sandwich store,
speakeasy or something?" Yeah. All right. The only notes we have is that the photographers were amateurs, and they were obnoxious and destroying his ambient audio.
Love it. Okay. Well, let's check this film out. Thanks, Kyle.
Kyle just has a cool like company name too.
Yeah, I mean I
like it.
Oh, I don't like that move, Kyle. You really blew it there.
Turn it off. We hate this.
Zoe, thank you for being unapologetically you, for bringing so much happiness to Alex's life, for taking that initial chance with him.
Great frame.
And not setting him up with your friend after you initially were going to. For teaching Alex how to be a better photographer. And most of all, for showing Alex how great love can really change someone's life.
Ironic that they compliment photography but don't hire a good one.
Alex, almost 4 years ago, on a hot summer night just like today, a happy hour date started our journey together. From that moment, you never left my life. Every single day with you. My love for you grows more and more. In you, I have found a man who cherishes me, who puts my happiness before his own, and who I can fully trust and rely on. From day one, you truly have been the joy in my heart and the laughter in my eyes.
That's a classic Kyle shot right there. Oh yeah.
Can you hear me well? Okay. Good evening. I'm father of Alex, and on behalf of my family, I'd like to thank you all for coming to today's wedding. I have 2 sons, and Yoon is the first to get married, and Joey is the only child for her parents. So I think this wedding carries extra special significance for both families.
非常感谢大家在百忙当中来参加我女儿周易和艾利克斯的婚礼。周易是我的独生女儿，周易从小就乖巧懂事、聪明伶俐，是我和她妈妈的最爱。
beautiful.
I will cry.
When I see the two of them together, I mainly laugh. Mostly because
Kyle, what's up with that
usually get
that
in trouble
one camera?
said or did.
Super saturated.
But also because it brings me so much happiness to know that one of my great friends has found his perfect partner to love, to be there for each other, to have fun with, and to build a beautiful life together.
This is a tough day.
From this day forward, you never have to face anything alone. I will be by your side in sickness and health.
Beautiful.
Bitter or sweet, we will hold each other's hands, get through it together. Today, I promise to honor you, challenge you, and support you. You've brought so much joy and happiness in my life. I promise to do the same.
Love that.
I've learned that love is a feeling, but our relationship is a choice that we made. And how we live out our marriage day to day is the most important thing. I will always love you and remind you that I love you. I will always be there for you. And I'm so excited to see where life takes us from here.
I now pronounce you husband and wife. Alex and Zoe, you can share your first married kiss. It's my great honor and joy to introduce to you for the first time, Zoe and Alex as a married couple.
I didn't expect this moment to overwhelm me like this, but it is because if I ever needed someone, my brother would always be there for me. And I know that Zoe will do the same for him, and Alex will do the same for her. And I think what's really, really incredible about Zoe is that not only do they spend extraordinary moments together, that she makes ordinary things and times extraordinary for them. Please, everyone, if you could join me in toasting to Zoe and Alex.
Let's see where the turn is. Do we bring it?
Get ready.
He's a good dancer.
Yeah. Wait, I thought you couldn't tell.
That's my guess. Although my wife, every time I say that, she's like, no, Jay. She's like, you don't know.
Yeah, not the type to boast. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't dope. Imitators, yeah, they all doing the most. I'm the original, nothing coming close.
I think we heard this song in another film.
Yeah, I got that. Yeah, I got that. I got that thing. I got that thing. Yeah, I got that thing.
I love covering dance floors like that.
Yeah. My most recent film, I was a fan. Oh, we lost my camera.
Yeah, I got that thing. I got that thing. Yeah, I got that thing.
Okay, so I'm going to rapid fire this thing. So first of all, Kyle is a very good filmmaker. So I would say criticisms that I would have for Kyle are, stuff that where I have a pretty high standard. And I know what he's capable of. And also, it's in no way throwing shade at this couple because it looks like they had a great day and it looks like they had the exact day they wanted. But I will say this looks like a challenging day.
Mm-hmm.
I can see some of the issues. Some of them are lighting. Some of them, honestly, Bobby, when I was watching this film, these are like the weddings that I'm covering like on a weekly basis. Like these are the exact weddings, and because we're both on the Northeast, and I'm like, I'm feeling his pain, like I'm empathizing with some of these situations and some of these even like families like this where you can tell they have a certain expectation of how they want to be presented. Totally great, but it definitely kind of ties your creativity up a little, and you got to just make sure, because they're your clients. So that being said, there's a lot of incredibly good shots in this film, and I particularly enjoyed. I always enjoy the way when filmmakers do the below the nose crop. Someone who's good at it, and they know exactly how to, like, these very sophisticated cinematic crops and ways of, the ones where they were like dancing or something inside of like a bottom of a staircase, the through the door shots. Like, there's just a lot going on. Like that shot right there, that is a beautiful shot. And the other thing I'll say, here's a really great tip. He does it throughout the film. We do it in our films. A lot of good filmmakers do this. And if you can't, learn how to do keyframing. And when you're doing a boring speech segment on your wide shot, just do a little push in, like a 5% post digital push in.
A couple of times,
and it elevates the shot so much. In some ways, more than a gimbal push in to me. I really love it, and he used that really well. I'm not going to say I love or don't love, but I do want to acknowledge the presentation of the locations as an interesting concept. I'm not sure it really made a huge difference in the film, but like he'd switch location and say Meridian House, this. That was kind of interesting, and it gave us more of a sense of place. And then I also think he very much honored their culture and who they are as people, and it for all the frustrations I could see with like, it was a hot day, and you could tell the photographer didn't really put you in the best positions, all that stuff. I felt like they did who they are kind of shined through. So that's it.
So things that I liked. First of all, I think this is kind of always the case, but you had a very, again, really great use of, in certain shots, light, and then again in general composition. Like that's kind of a given with any film that we get from Kyle usually. So that's kind of always the case. But the two things I wrote down other than that is Kyle seems to be.
This is a shot, man, Kyle.
My camera's down.
This saturation. I'll take over while you're fixing the camera.
Yeah.
This is a question. This camera looks so weird to me, Kyle. It's just weird. I think throughout the thing too that I noticed, Kyle, is I'm curious why you didn't push them to do certain things in better light, and why you let them stand in front of super overexposed, like right here. And it could be the photographer, and I totally get that. And it could be panicking, all this, but I'm just curious, like right there, I would have really loved to see that not shot there, because there's no winning with that exposure. And I feel like you didn't put yourself in the best position throughout the day to get your best, like to really have your work shine. Sometimes that's something you can do something about. Sometimes it's nothing you can do about. So, but I am curious about that. That's an interesting thing I noticed throughout the film is there's like a not typical of you, which is kind of letting someone else determine if your shot sucks. Definitely, I can see the challenge you were facing.
All right, I'm back. Okay, so what I was going to say is Kyle is a pro at being a pro. And what I mean by that is, I don't know when the opening shot, them dancing in the reception by themselves, that to me is something that Kyle probably asked for. Knowing when you need more or when
that
your
is
film
exactly
is
what I was going
something
to say.
Specific
so good.
Is a very important part of filmmaking and is a very big separator from a good filmmaker that's running a good business and whatever to a very good filmmaker. And that's one of the few things that can separate that. So
Yes.
Yeah, asking for what you need. And I think that is my assumption, is that was like I don't have, my guess is half the day is done. Kyle's sweating it because he's like, man, this has been a rough day. Things aren't working the way I want. Like, the photographer's screwing up what I want. This isn't like, my couple's not giving me what I normally get. I'm really missing that, like,
how am I going to make this edit?
Solid stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then the other thing is, just in a general sense, I think with this film specifically, I think, you know, Jay, you were maybe touching this before. Kyle made a lot with a little, right? Like, there was a lot of stuff that sucked about this day, not about their day or about their wedding, but just about like capturing it the way that you want. And, you know, there was a lot of content where it's like, you know, he probably used most of his good shots, or maybe included some stuff that he wouldn't otherwise. And so, you know, there was not a lot to work with on the day, whether that's just circumstance or the photographers or the couple or you or the lighting or whatever. But you made a lot with what you had and the time that you had, and, you know, not having some extensive, you know, couples portrait time, I don't think, and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Typical wedding like this, which is, you know, wealthy people who want to be somewhat catered to, who don't want to be interrupted, who don't want to be bothered, maybe a little more reserved, it seems. And, you know, but there's a lot of content if you're willing to push and be a pro. And, you know, I will say this, I don't know how we felt. I shoot weddings like this a lot, and there are days where I'm like, I quit.
Yeah.
I'm like,
nope, this is just going to be a bad one.
I shot a wedding like that on last Saturday. It was a wedding where for our, like, it was a $2,500 package that we sold for Merriment Films, which is our high access brand. And the guy got sick, and I had to go shoot this wedding. And it was not my typical wedding, but I shot it. And I remember thinking, like, am I a pro or not a pro? Like, because I'm thinking, like, meh, this couple, they're not really feeling it. The day isn't going the way I want. There's a lot that's working against me. And I think, like, I was like, no, I'm going to kill this. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep pushing. And, like, if that's your attitude, you're going to be in the event industry, and that crap is going to happen. And I think, you know, this is a good reminder for all of us, a film like this, where you can still extract a very good film when conditions aren't optimal. So no freaking excuses. Make good films.
Kyle says he shot this 4 days ago.
Yeah. Great job. Maybe spend a little more time on the edit.
Anything that you didn't like, or that
I don't like the score.
Okay,
that's just my opinion. They might love it. For me, it just I felt like it was repetitive. It was distracting me, honestly, from the film. But I don't know. That could be my opinion. That's just the first thing I was like, I could take or leave all the classical music and the repetitiveness of it. It just didn't really like propel the film forward to me, and it didn't feel peaceful either. I was like, when I was watching them, I was like, I kind of wanted a sense of tranquility, and I felt like it was this elevated uppityness that I just didn't match what I was seeing. But that being said, I do understand why he chose it. They might have specifically asked for it, and they are in a nice building and all these things. So I wouldn't say it's really a critique. It's just a personal preference.
Observation, yeah. I think the only things that I have two things written down because I feel like I need to have two things always. I love that like in the harsh light.
It's great.
Dark shot. Okay, so I think specifically because it was juxtaposed against some reception speech shots, some of the prep for, I think it was mostly for the bride, especially like wider shots in that super white room. There's some groom stuff too, maybe, though, felt kind of blue to me. Felt a little cool.
Yeah.
I think that's because it's coming off of reception, which felt warm.
But even that's blue
anyway.
Even this is blue.
Yeah, and I don't comment too much because on color stuff because I don't have always like the highest quality footage like stream through to me, but I definitely it stood out a little bit. And then the biggest thing that I would say, and this isn't even really a critique on you, it's an observation of the day, but like I think in this film we can definitely tell when you were in control versus when you were not in control. I know you guys were kind of talking about that for the first look spot. Some of the prep stuff I think was like that too. Maybe where she was putting her dress on, like some of those opening shots of like just the bride or just the groom kind of getting ready, like really nice lighting, definitely a Kyle Smith shot. And then some of it was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't like, not that it was bad, but it was just like, I can tell like Kyle didn't pick this, Kyle didn't set this up. So
I would say if you could cut this thing to like a 1 minute highlight, you're onto something. Like it's got enough good shots that you could use it for your brand, but I think as a piece, it's not going to be a showpiece.
Yeah, I think that's a fair way to put it. Not because it's bad. It's just like you have better stuff, honestly. That's the
this
thing.
is what I'll say to
you have better stuff.
everybody. It's like do the best you can every day because most weddings are going to be a lot of good stuff and a lot of bad stuff or non-ideal stuff. But every once in a while, if you practice all the right like styles of shooting and you're like actually on your game, you're gonna actually capture like that unicorn wedding. And when I'm watching,
it might not be the one you think either.
Yeah, you never know. And so what I love about watching professionals is you can just tell they bring that professionalism every single week. And this isn't a criticism of our normal people submitting, but I know most of these people are trying to submit their best work to us or their first work. But this is Kyle just submitting the stuff that we would not normally see as wedding filmmakers. And hopefully it's relatable to you guys and you're connecting and you're seeing like, oh man, Kyle still brought his A game even when the conditions weren't great. And that's what it takes.
Yep, definitely.
All right, guys. So Bobby, any final words you want to say to everybody as we get out of here?
No, I don't think so. Thank you guys for joining. We'll see you guys next week. And let's see, I don't know. Yeah, nothing else big. Become a member, submit your films. Join us over on the Wedding Film School show.
Yeah, check out our episode that is uploading today about recession. And then tomorrow we're uploading on the YouTube channel our episode where we're interviewing Daniel from the Music Bed, talking about how they get their artist, talking about how annoying it is to work with Meta, talking about why you want to work with them, because I really think they're a really great company, and I don't just say that because they're a partner of our channel, but like we really believe in them. And as I said before, like they're started by wedding filmmakers. If you didn't know that, so obviously there are people the Music Bed.
Yeah,
so
they get us. They want to listen to us, and they are listening to us.
They are listening. Yeah. So guys, look forward to seeing you next week. Check out our podcast, and we've got some more content. Definitely check out the other stuff we got going on here at Wedding Film School. Have a great day.
See ya.